once again to discuss things.
Basically, if the movie's big enough, you gotta just lock yourself in a closet so you don't play it.
Yep. Oh yeah. And with the internet and you know, pirating and shit, it's not realistic.
Yeah, it's really silly. Anyways, you guys mind if we get right into it?
Oh yeah, I'm recording.
I've waited all day for this. Okay.
Oh, yeah? Whatever.
Alright. Hi everyone, welcome to this very special episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Zazubar and the one, the only Captain Logan.
Hi there.
Hello everyone.
Aw, man, guys, I am so excited today for the review of the Lego Movie, and, like, you guys can't hear it, but I'm gonna tell a story right off the bat. So last night, I'm thinking, alright, we're gonna do the review, what's the music I'm gonna open it up with, and I'm like, I gotta try to get the song from the movie, see if someone's done a cover of it.
Yeah.
And last night, of course there's nothing out.
Right.
Today, I'm working on editing the intro for it, that you guys are still seeing right now, a little bit of, maybe, and I think, alright, let's check again. There's a cover of it, released 2 hours before I looked. If I can use it, and he said yes, and we got to hear like an instrumental version of the theme on the intro for this, so I'm so happy about that. Everything is awesome, and it's all coming together. Get it? Lego puns because
I know.
Building.
I couldn't, I did a review with Sarah last night, and I could not get through it without tons of Lego puns. Like, everything I said, it just sounded like something to do with interlocking pieces. Didn't matter what it was. In fact, the thing I wrote on my board, I said I feel like I need reconstructive surgery from smiling too much, and then I went, oh, reconstructive. You see what I did? I couldn't wrote that.
Was that an accident, or were you like,
no,
I'm gonna drop this?
I gotta say, I played it on the video like I did it on purpose, but as I was writing it, I went, ha ha, reconstructive.
There's a topic for Geeky Gentlemen down the line. Accidental puns.
Accidental puns, yeah. No, I've been, my son and I today have been playing the soundtrack on Spotify.
Oh, cool.
And, of course, the soundtrack has, like, 5 arrangements of that song!
It is such a catchy song, oh my god.
Version, and then there's, like, the actual, like, full version that actually, song.
There's a complete instrumental version, and then there's of course, I don't know if you guys stayed all the way through the credits, but there's the unplugged version just on acoustic guitar, and that was really funny. We were saying, because when we take my son to a movie, he has to watch all of the credits.
Right.
One of his favorite things about movies is watching the way he goes, Daddy, can we watch the words? And of course, for people that don't know, my son is almost 4, but he reads incredibly well, and so when he's looking at the credits, he's actually reading them. And anyway, Sarah and I both lost our minds when it got to the acoustic rendition of "Everything Is Awesome," and it's like it's super slowed down. It's like everything is awesome.
Was it like a Southern country version?
And just before that, well, and then it kind of transforms into almost like a gospel choir thing.
Oh, that's amazing!
Yeah, it's really cool, and something that it's like key change. They've got like a whole choir. Anyway, but then sandwiched between those, they play the Batman song in its entirety.
Oh no! Why did I miss this?
Yeah, so you should have stayed through the credits.
I really was thinking I should have. Dang it!
There's no stinger or anything, but it's worth it just for the soundtrack stuff. That was super fast. No parents.
No, I didn't get to stay through because I took my friend who has class on Saturday, which is bullshit, and we were sitting there. And I'm like, okay, we're going to sit here, we're going to watch the credits, because this movie is all clever and all over the place, so I'm assuming there's going to be something there. And I turned to her, about to ask her if it's okay, and she's like, I've got to get up for school in 7 hours, can you take me home? And I was like, fuck! I was so pissed. But I wasn't that pissed, because I had a super bad headache last night, really bad. And what sucked about it was, I forgot that the movie was going to be in 3D. And, my headache was bad. I'm shocked.
Dude,
I liked the movie as much as I did because of how bad my headache was. There were points I was like, stop throwing things at me!
I'm so blown away by that because, like, Bill, you hate 3D. I've never heard you say one good thing about 3D, and I didn't even know it was in 3D till I was walking to my theater and saw, oh, Lego Movie 3D. Time to go to the 2D show.
I'm realizing
that's a really strange choice. I would be afraid that 3D would detract from that movie because of the intentionally pretend slower frame rate. Like, I figure that would just kill your eyes.
It did. I had a bad headache, man. And I didn't think about it because I was rushing because I got out of work and I picked up my friend and was like, we're going to see the Lego Movie. And we get there and we get the tickets and we're walking over and I look and it said 3D and I was like, oh, shit. And it was not fun. Though the Spider-Man trailer was cool in 3D. That was cool. Had Spider-Man, like, popping webs at me. It was kind of cool.
No, seriously, I didn't know till I walked in the theater, and luckily enough, I just walked right past the 3D show, because ours was in 2D, and man, dude, I cannot tell you how excited I was for this. At first, like, I vaguely heard someone talk about them making a Lego movie. It might have been you, Cap, at one point, but I didn't really pay it any mind. And then I saw the first trailer for it on TV, or the first TV spot, rather, and I was like, oh my god, yes, it's in 2D, it's in stop-motion animation.
Yeah.
That, more than anything else, excited me. Don't get me wrong, I like that they're doing Lego games. I haven't played any of them personally.
Yeah,
I've played some of the demos.
You've never played Lego Star Wars?
No.
You have no soul.
I've been playing those for years. I mean, like, I played the first Lego Star Wars on the GameCube.
I mean, like, I've just never really gotten into them, and I think it's really because it's not actual Legos. It's all, CG models.
Yeah.
And I think I would love it. I think I'd play them if they were in stop motion.
Yeah.
And which that is possible to do. Just saying.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was so hyped that they made a Lego movie. Like, I'd say 95% in stop motion. The rest is the 2D animation on the faces. And then, like, the live action and the CG effects that they added in, like the Tunnel of Doom or whatever, or the Abyss Tube, whatever. But everything else was full Lego stop motion with, like, little glows and stuff added in post, and I loved that.
I mean, my favorite part, and I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but my favorite thing was the water. I thought that was insanely creative, and I was like, oh, these guys have my money, because that's intense. That's amazing. That they went to that level of detail with the water being made of the little circles.
Yeah. Oh, man, I went to Legoland when I was 12. I was a little too old for it at that point, but I still loved it. And so it was so cool to see, like, Lego Mount Rushmore and stuff, and when I was there, and then to see this, I had an even better time seeing it all animated on film than I did going to see it in person where I could touch it.
Yeah. It's like Jurassic Park in that way. You don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I guess. Yes, it's a bad idea usually to touch dinosaurs. Just saying.
They were trying to play God, man, when they brought the Legos to life, and then they just started eating people.
No, but I was so hyped for this movie. I was so excited to see it, and it paid off completely. Not only visually, not only on a comedy basis, but man, the story in this just works, right?
Oh, I was insanely impressed. Can I say one last thing first before we get into the review itself?
Sure.
I had absolutely no expectations about this. I think I'd maybe seen 2 trailers, one of them being a TV spot before I had seen the movie, and then I'd seen, like poster ads and shit. Like I went to GameStop on Wednesday and I saw like a standee ad for it. But I really, before you said we were going to do it on the show, I really didn't think I was going to see it because, I mean, I played with Legos as a kid, but I wasn't a Lego kid. I was more of a Mega Bloks kid. No,
who is a Mega Bloks kid?
There are people out there, dude.
Who would ever choose Mega Bloks over Legos?
Listen, dude, Mega Bloks got me through up until I was about 10, and my parents would let me play with Legos. Until then, they were too small. Anyway, so I really wasn't that excited about it, but as the days counted down, I got a little bit more excited, and I was driving to the movie theater with Nicola, and I said to her, when was the last time I saw a movie that I had no expectations for? And I think the last time it happened, I can't even point to one. Kind of Saving Mr. Banks, because that was like a last-minute decision, but even then, I had seen reviews and stuff. This I knew nothing about. So I got even more excited, like, oh, I'm probably going to enjoy this more not knowing anything about it. and oh my god, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie because I was surprised by how good it was. Oh, I was so impressed.
Cap, any expectations going into it that you want to talk about real quick?
I think the advertising for this movie is really super impressive because because there were lots of trailers and they seemed to keep getting longer and longer as they kept putting them out. And usually when you have longer trailers, you think that you know what you're getting because Hollywood these days is putting out so many trailers that give away too much. And so I kind of thought I knew what this movie was, you know? Like going in, I sort of expected just like a crazy, absurd rock fest, which would have been fine. I think the reason...
Cap, can you say that again? Your mic just did something really weird. Cap turned into a robot for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I kind of expected just an absurd, crazy rock, and was super impressed and got more than that. It was less about I had no expectations and more that I thought I knew what it was going to be, and then it was above and beyond that. Because I love just silly and absurd, and this thing was delivering that for the first half an hour. And then suddenly, I'm like, well, we're going someplace with this. There's some thoughtfulness here. And then I get to the third act, and it's so much more thoughtful than I even thought it was.
Right.
Yeah, that was super cool. The other thing I thought was really nice about the advertising is they advertised it on what they needed to get people into the movie, and then it's not just that. I kind of was afraid that Batman was just going to steal the entire movie.
That's exactly what I thought too.
And when you look at the advertising, a lot of his big jokes are in the trailers, and in a lot of other movies that would kind of irritate me. Okay, all the funny stuff's in the trailers. Not the case with this movie, obviously. And the fact that they showed you so much of Batman stuff in the trailers, I think, was really smart because then the movie kind of understated.
Definitely.
One of the things I really liked about the trailers, just real quick to say this, is, I didn't see all of them or anything, but the ones I saw, from what I can remember, most of the jokes were from the beginning of the movie.
Good point.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really impressive. I wish more stuff would do that. You can give away, say, the first act of your movie without, major problems in the trailer.
Status quo, that's your setup, right?
That's the tone, yeah.
Occasion for story is a good way to sell a movie. Here's what gets it started, so you'll care.
Right.
And that's what really worked about it. So you get some of the beginning jokes and stuff are given away, and it doesn't matter when you're watching the movie because you're just blown away by their opening sequence. I mean, honestly, that opening sequence of Everything is Awesome it's almost like a musical's opening number, and I'm probably the only one here that has taken part in musical, because I was in stagecraft for 2 years in a row. Not because I failed, because I chose to. Just
sure,
to cut off.
Yeah, we'll believe you. Sure.
I'm not even sure if you could fail stagecraft. Maybe if you cut off a hand or something.
Challenge accepted.
Just for the record, I've been in musicals.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I've been in my own personal musicals.
It reminds me of the opening of, just name a musical, and they all have big opening numbers, and to try to just get everyone enthralled in the show to then put up with them establishing status quo, and that's what that was. It was a big opening musical number without the characters necessarily being the ones singing it. And you just got to appreciate the scenery and the setup and everything, and it was, oh my god, that Lego City was nuts.
What was really impressive, too, is that it was doing so much more legwork than just that, because it was also establishing a satirical tone. And
big time.
And it was being incredibly sarcastic. And what I really like about all of that, too, is that I'm going through this movie and thinking about all the things that it seems like they're satirizing, big business and all of that, and then you get to the end of the movie and it's so much simpler than that.
And simpler, but it's more original.
But what I'm saying is it's super cool that it ultimately is just about a dad and his kid.
Yeah.
And that at the end of the day, everything that's been being played out in a grander scale, you can look at it as politics and big business and stuff, because that's all exemplified in the dad.
Right.
And I was so floored by that. I've never been happier to see something that I thought was super complex and really interesting and multi-layered become so simple. And that's why it worked.
Bill, are you able to hear him all right, or is it just me?
Cap, you were fine for most of it, but then you kind of cut out towards the end. I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't either. I don't know.
See, you're fine there. I don't know what's going on. But,
we'll just hope for the best then.
Yeah,
I guess.
I heard most of what he said. So but I agree. I thought that was incredible. The other thing that I was really the one thing I really liked that kind of came together at the end of the movie that they set up in the beginning was that the first 15 minutes of the movie are incredibly fast, and everything is just popping and moving really, really quickly, and it's a major ADD kind of thing. And I was like, oh my god, this is so fast-paced. I hope the whole movie isn't like this, because otherwise I'm going to have a problem here. Because I was just like, holy shit, this thing is moving so quick. Like that first opening at the volcano where you see Morgan Freeman's like godlike character, and President Business comes in. I was like, oh Jesus, I really hope this isn't all like this, otherwise I'm just going to get bored. And that was the point, though. And what I really liked about it in terms of the father-son dichotomy that they introduced later is that all of the seemingly simple, kind of overdone tropes that have been done in adventure stories like this, with, being against government and politics and a big, mean corporate presidential figure, totalitarian figure, is that it's all because those are the kind of villains that kids like to see and the kind of villains that kids come up with. And I thought that was really clever at the end of the day, because it's such a well-used trope, and the movie kind of fools you into thinking that it's not as clever as it actually is. And that really impressed me. I was really impressed with the screenplay. Like when that screenplay credit popped up, I was like, well done, gentlemen, well done.
Honestly, I think, alright, I'm not going to say, alright, hold on. This is my favorite movie that Will Ferrell has been in. This is my second favorite movie of Will Ferrell's.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. I like this movie more than I like his other movie that I really enjoy. Because I like what Will Ferrell does. Anchorman's funny and stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's good for a dumb laugh. But, I get really annoyed when Will Ferrell just always plays overgrown man-child. So one of his movies that I really enjoy is Stranger Than Fiction. It's my favorite Will Ferrell movie. Will Ferrell star power movie.
I haven't seen that.
Because it's nothing like any of his other films, and as a writer, you should really enjoy it.
Right. Yeah, it's my favorite movies as well. And I was thinking that while I was watching this. It's funny that you say an overgrown man-child, given...
Because he kind of is, in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Kind of the inversion of that, right? Where he is, but he's not accepting it. He's not, he thinks of it as the serious adult thing. Something else that was really neat about that is that after you know where it all comes from, things become layered, and there's somewhat of a double entendre there, because you have President Business, because he's a big business guy, but also his father is all business and no play.
Right. Mm-hmm. But he's doing it with kids' toys, which is really clever. I love the line where he goes, buddy, this is adult stuff. You can't touch this, but we bought it at the toy store. It's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie.
It was actually the line after that he says it. He's like, I can't remember the exact way he phrased it, but he's like, it's because, but we bought it at the toy store. It's like, well, it's not a toy anymore because of because of what I just said.
Right, yeah.
So good.
His performance was excellent. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, in both roles, it's really perfect.
Definitely. Because I didn't even know that was... I came into this knowing nothing, so when I heard the voice, I was like, who is that? I know that voice.
I recognized it was Will Ferrell.
Well, that was the most impressive thing to me, because I knew going in that was Will Ferrell, and I thought he did a pretty good job of modulating it. It didn't sound exactly like him.
It took me a couple minutes to figure it out. I had to turn to Nicola and go, is that Will Ferrell? And she's like, yeah, you didn't know he was in this? I was like, no, especially not as the villain. I thought the villain was Liam Neeson. So when I came into it, I was like, oh, there he is, and then it's Will Ferrell, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, and he did excellent. There's a bunch of scenes with him later on that are amazing, especially in his office with Bad Cop, played by Liam Neeson. Oh, it's incredible. Just to see Will Ferrell be threatening to Liam Neeson is amazing.
Yeah, I thought they kept making me strangely sad for minifigs, and I really like that. And then, of course, again, at the end of the day, when you find out that it's all being created by this kid, you're like, wow, this kid's a decent storyteller.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's fun about it, too, because when you have kids that are playing with toys like this kind of stuff will happen, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, for them, they're just making up stuff as it goes along, but then there's, like, the deeper elements of their life that come into it.
Right.
In certain ways, it's kind of a neat examination of just telling stories.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely
I
of
did really
doing
love
it with
that.
toys as a child, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was playing with Legos all the time as a kid, I thought of, like, these incredibly, for, at least in my mind, complex stories. Upon investigation, looking back on it now, probably not so complex and a little bit rip-offy of, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
Together? Because there's a scene in this movie where that happens. Were you excited?
Gandalf and Dumbledore hanging out was really funny.
Dumbledore, whatever!
Well, you two gotta stand on different parts of the room.
There's all these fun little subtle things throughout the movie before you know that it's just a little kid playing with stuff, where you're like, why does that guy's voice sound like that? That's weird. Why would he have this goofy high pitched voice like that?
Yeah.
Every now and again they would insert something where you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right,
And
the micromanagers, yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, the micromanagers. That was really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I didn't really like that, even though, like,
What?
I get the No,
But
hold
Ian,
on.
everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. I get the context of, it's a little kid doing the voice, but for me, I really loved when Harrison Ford showed up and did the voice for, for Han, and, you even got, Billy D to do, Lando, just for that brief cameo. I can't remember the name of the guy that did Dumbledore. Is he still alive?
The first guy, no. That's why they recasted him.
No, I mean the guy that did it after the fact. Is he still around?
Yeah, his voice doesn't sound like that. It was probably another guy.
Well, I know
it definitely wasn't Ian McKellen doing Gandalf.
It's just,
I'm
just
asking
saying
him
he doesn't know if the man's still alive.
Oh.
I just thought it was really cool that they got Harrison Ford to come back. I thought it would have been really cool if they got, like, everybody to come do that one line that the character has or whatever.
That's a good yeah, fair enough.
It worked. It still works. It wasn't like, this ruins the movie, I'm gonna leave. No, I still love the movie. The day this comes out on Blu-ray, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
But that's just one thing that I thought was a really cool joke. I mean, here's what kind of works for it, in that you will never see, ever in your life, you will never see a major motion picture in which Batman gets inside the Millennium Falcon. I promise you that today.
And steals the hyperdrive from Han Solo. It's never going to happen. Oh.
No, just in general, you are never going to see a major budget motion picture distributed by Disney or Warner Brothers in which Batman gets into the Millennium Falcon, unless it's like a spoof movie, like that really bad, like, epic movie or something. Unless it's like one of those, in which case it doesn't count, because those are not movies. Those are internet sketch comedies dragged out to an hour and a half and put in theaters.
This reminded me of something. Can I bring this up quick?
Yeah, sure.
So, we talked about this before the movie came out. We were talking about, Lego has Marvel and DC, Lego cases or whatever you call them, Lego sets. And you and I were saying, this might be the only time in history we'll ever get Marvel and DC in a movie together.
Nah,
but then we were like, Disney and Warner Brothers would never work that out. But then the Star Wars characters are in this, and I was like, wait a minute. Why couldn't we have Spider-Man pop up?
The thing about it is, Star Wars just lets itself be parodied a lot more, or parodied or tributed or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an annual Star Wars fan film contest, and you look at, like, Family Guy, they did feature-length parodies of each Star Wars film.
Right.
Wow. Real Star Wars films.
Though, Ian, he makes a really good point, because it wasn't just parody, they used the theme song.
Yeah,
I know, but what I'm saying is Star Wars lets itself be,
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
tributed, or not just tributed, but, like, used.
I get that, but he's just saying that they're owned by the same company now. It's a little weird that Marvel wouldn't sign off on it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they set it up that they could do a sequel, I think. I mean, with that premise of, it's just a kid playing with Legos. You can do any sequel you want.
Definitely.
It's not like he's just going to stop playing with Legos. So it's entirely possible they'll come back, especially because, I mean, Marvel's going to want a cut of that, right?
I'm just saying that the fact that we didn't see it this time makes me kind of think we won't again. I mean, given how much other crossover there was. I mean, considering all the different properties they threw in there, and considering that DC didn't just put Batman in there, they had 4 superheroes. They were. That's what I'm saying. He's one of the 4. They're really kind of milking the DC superheroes for all their worth.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm echoing a little bit, man. On your end, Cap. Okay, there we go. It's good. No, I got you there, and I get that. I'm just saying, I think Star Wars is kind of its own thing, because it just lets itself be used more than anything else in any other media. That's why I think Star Wars was in it as opposed to Marvel.
Here's the thing. They don't have control over it anymore, so Lucasfilms couldn't come in and be like, oh, it's cool. Disney would have to be like, yeah, that's fine. So that's the weird thing. That's what it's like, Why couldn't we have Spider-Man?
Maybe not, because, I mean, this is stop motion. It takes quite a while to produce. When did Disney buy Star Wars?
A while ago.
Hey, Ian. What is your source for this being stop motion?
I can just tell by looking at it.
Okay, because everything I've read says that it's totally computer animated. You've just made it to look like it's in stop motion.
Oh, well, that's really weird.
I've read nothing that says that there's any actual stop motion in this.
Well, then I'm really impressed, because it looks 100% stop motion to me.
Yeah, I did no reading in terms of research before this movie. I just assumed it was stop motion.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, and it's stop... I mean, it looks exactly like the stuff Forest Fire 101 or Kenshin 8 does online. I assumed it was 100% stop motion. If it's CG... kudos to them, because they did amazing CG work. But it's that you also see actual Lego models of everything that's happening, and it all moves like stop motion. I'd assumed it was, but I mean, kudos to them for doing it that well and blending it in with that. I assumed it was all stop motion.
Well, there was
because I mean, even some of the if it's CG, some of the texture work is amazing, because you can see like the bumps and the grooves in the plastic.
I'm gonna Google this real quick.
I'm looking this up right now just to make sure I'm right, and here I'll send you guys an article.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't need it to be stop motion. My thing about the Lego games that always bugged me is you can clearly tell it's not actual Legos. So that's, I mean, they do things that Legos can't do, and in this movie, besides floating in the air, there's nothing in this movie that a Lego can't do.
Yeah, and what I think is super cool about that, though, is that those of us that have consumed a lot of the other Lego stuff and seen direct-to-video movies they've done and played the video games and stuff, we're all kind of now used to the universe where it looks like Legos, but they're not really. You know what I mean? Where you have minifigs and you have everything built out of Legos, but then the landscapes and everything are just like real places. And so I think it was accidentally fortuitous that so much of their stuff has been done that way, because when this came out and I started seeing previews for it, the first thing I said was, wait a minute, everything's made out of Lego? So like, there's gotta be a reason, right? Like, I was instantly, curious about why they changed it and why they were going that way with it.
I think it looks better, honestly. Don't get me wrong, I get it sometimes when, Batman in the games needs to stretch his arm a way that a Lego can't stretch his arm. But I think it looks better. I think it lets you imagine it better when you actually do it with real Legos. There were a couple shots where I was like, maybe they're using CG, particularly when the hands seemed to go behind the back. That really did look CG almost, but like the more I looked at it, I'm like, no, the shoulders are still there, and it's not bending at the elbows. It's because they're turning the hands. Like, I really thought it was all stop motion. I don't mind that it is CG. I just like that they did the look of stop motion, that they made it look like actual Legos, because honestly that works for the story that they're telling, since it's supposed to be a kid in his Lego.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making, is that it was kind of cool that suddenly it was a different sort of continuity. And because I was looking at this and it being all Legos and going, they're going somewhere with this. There's a point to all this, because I was used to it not being that way.
Right.
And because at first when I saw previous for this thing, I thought maybe it was just an aesthetic change for the sake of itself, and that's one of the reasons the thing was so impressive at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if it was just an aesthetic change for the sake of doing it in stop motion. That would have made me happy. And I don't, like I said, I'm not gonna pitch a bitch that it's not in stop motion. I just think what I like about this is there's nothing in it that looks like it couldn't be done with actual Legos.
I love the lasers. The lasers are little tubes. That was great.
Yeah, it's like just the things that you put in the lightsabers. That's what was so cool about it. You know, besides the Legos, you know, maintaining flight in the air, which you could conceivably do. I mean, Kenshin 8 does it, and so does Forest Fire 1, who are, just for people that don't know, they're a little crude.
If you want to see Captain America bloodily tear apart Nazis, go watch Forest Fire's Lego Captain America movie. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, that's all he does. Is he does like really crude, like, you know, kind of like R-rated Justice League with Legos. It's really funny. It's really funny if you're a fan of the Justice League and stuff, as parody. And he does it all in stop motion, and that's what's really fun about it.
Captain America one messed with me, dude. That was messed up. Just seeing Captain America tear people apart. I was like, oh my god.
Well, like
a horror movie.
There's a fairly recent one. There's a fairly recent one with the Justice League in which like Joker has strapped the dead bodies of Bruce Wayne's parents onto a yellow truck full of kryptonite in order to keep the Justice League away from him. And when they get him away from the truck far enough, they just, like, Superman and Wonder Woman are like, let's go fuck him up. And then they just beat the shit out of Joker. There's, like, fake blood everywhere. And it's Superman and Wonder Woman just literally, you know, curb stomping the Joker in Lego. And it's hilarious in a really crude way.
Yeah. This
so
was not like that thing.
I wouldn't recommend it to our younger viewers. But you can see the quality of the stop motion there, and you can see that you can do this in all stop motion with light post effects, like, you know, glows and transparent color layers and stuff. You know, you can do it with light CG effects, and I honestly think that's a better way to go, just as a personal thing. But that this did it and made it all look like it's totally possible with real Legos is really impressive to me.
Go ahead, Cap.
Thanks. I think that it was smart for the consistency of this narrative for everything to look like it was actual Lego, but not necessarily to be able to do stuff that only you could do in Lego, because so much of this is happening inside of somebody's imagination.
Fair enough.
My favorite part of it, though, aside from the lasers, because the lasers was clever, but the funniest one was ghostly Morgan Freeman.
That's what I was gonna say. That was the funniest one.
Dangling the character with like a green like piece over him, just like woo.
Yeah, a wire?
Yeah, that's like when the wire showed up. I'm like, okay, something's about to happen, because like they did the Lego hand earlier, and I'm like, okay, so this, and you know, the relics like the Bonded or the Exact Zero knife.
Yeah, that was my favorite. The knife of Exact Zero.
Like that was all, and the Craggle.
Can I make
like
a complaint?
One second. I really like
just what you're gonna say.
When they saw the string, I was like, okay, this is gonna take a very dramatic shift very quickly. But go ahead.
Can I make a complaint?
Hey, Bill, can I guess your complaint?
Please.
You're gonna complain that it wasn't Liam Neeson that said release the Craggle.
Yes, but second complaint, personal complaint. This movie stole something from me. I'm not kidding. Okay,
I nailed your complaint. I'm sad now.
Okay, well, you got close. I thought that in the movie theater, but bigger complaint, personal complaint. So I used to do a stop motion series on my YouTube channel called The Godzilla Gang. It's a little series I did for a couple of years. It was I liked it. Anyway, I did a Christmas special once called the Kaiju Christmas Special, in which Godzilla loses his voice and can't speak. And the whole joke was, the reason why was because I couldn't record audio that week, because my mic wasn't working, so I decided, I'll do a little joke out of it. And in that episode, Gigan shows up, and I don't know why, but I figured, it'd be kind of funny if Gigan just throws something at him just to, like, mock him. So I was like, what can I have him throw that'll look kind of good in his hand and look good in stop motion? So you know what I did? It was a coin. And there's a scene in this movie where President Business just chucks a coin at somebody. And I was like, they stole that from me.
Oh yes, Bill, because you're the only one that's ever thought of throwing a coin.
I'm not gonna sue, but I'm just saying that's a little sketchy. That I saw that and I was like, hey. I did that once on a YouTube video.
Bill, I'm sure. You know what? You should sue.
I'm gonna sue. I'm gonna own Star Wars, the Marvel Comics, DC, and all these Lego characters just because I sue them.
Bill, you are such an original thinker. No one else would have ever thought to throw a coin.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying it was sketchy.
Dude, I'm serious. No one, that's like the most original thought ever.
It is. I was proud of it. I was very proud of it. And then they stole it from me.
Beethoven,
and they made money off of it. I didn't make no money off of that.
Beethoven can go die somewhere again because his originality is absolutely nothing compared to yours,
And once Bill gets all super rich, he's going to own all of us, and then he's going to open up coffee shops where he charges $34 for a cup of coffee.
It's going to happen.
That was so funny.
And then when I charge people, they're going to break out in a song. Otherwise, I'm going to, shoot them on the way out.
And they're going to be really happy about all of the stupid, terrible things in their life because you're forcing them to be okay with that because they don't know any better. And
exactly.
Give them all these instructions that they don't know how to deviate from the instructions. By the way, the way instruction manuals were used was used. It never got old. I laughed at it every time there was an instruction manual on screen.
Especially, eat breakfast with all the special people in your life.
Done.
You liking your waffles there, Planty? Oh, that was my favorite.
Your waffles, Planty.
See, this is why I wish Milan was on the video, because I could be like, Milan, you were able to relate to that scene, weren't you? Aww.
He's gonna listen to this too, so...
We miss chances to insult Milan. Like, every time Milan's not on a video, I think of, 5 good Milan insults.
Wait, Ian, I'm gonna do my best Milan impression, and you can insult me. So, Ian, my favorite scene in the whole film was when he was getting ready for work, because I got to see a Lego man without pants on. That's my best
Milan, I'm sure you're used to seeing that. Did it remind you of your father at all?
What?
Bill, are you implying that if that show Where's My Pants was on, that Milan would watch it?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Is that
every episode?
That's really mean. And on behalf of these other couple of mean, horrible jerk faces, I'm going to apologize to Milan right now for people actually thinking that he would sit around watching Where's My Pants.
He would totally watch Where's My Pants.
No, Cap, you and I are going to do a review of Where's My Pants.
Oh, they should.
And I'm going to deep philosophical in it.
Throw out Arrow discussions.
Where's My Pants?
Throw out Shield discussions. You're not doing a Flash series. We're just going to do 3 videos on every episode of Where's My Pants.
Welcome to episode 3 of Where's My Pants discussions. I'm Captain Logan, and this is Ian. And Ian, what'd you think about the 45th time the dude said, "Where's my pants?"
Oh my god, dude, that was my favorite part. It was so good on a thematic level, and just the philosophical implications of that were impressive. It really reminded me of the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, who was the first, self-proclaimed existentialist. And he thought, where are my pants? And, it really is a good question. It reminds me of that really old Super Friends animation that, they parodied for Adult Swim or Cartoon Network. I can't remember which it was, where Solomon Grundy was like, I just want a decent pair of pants. You guys remember that one?
And then I come in because I hacked into the computer feed. Hello, everybody. I am Malone Jeftic. I enjoyed this very much. That's
okay.
My Malone impression kind of turned into, I don't know, like that guy from The Simpsons who runs the Quickie Mart. Thank you. Come again. He kind of sounded like that. Okay. I was going to say something else.
I don't know. Do you guys... Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Another thing I wanted to mention. some of the specifics of how you play with Legos, aside from the instruction, that was genius, and I thought that it was even more genius because they worked it into the point of the movie. But what I just enjoyed all of the nods to the way in which Legos are used. One of my favorite things was there are different realms where different parts of the Lego universe are put in. And I turned to my friend and I was like, they're going to show the Bionicles, aren't they? And then they start flashing art. And then you see the Bionicles. I was like, ah! Because those are the Legos I played with. I was a Bionicle kid. And then they never made cameos in the movie, and I got really sad.
Well, I mean, I think that counts, but okay.
No. I want Toa-Tahu to, like, swing in and, like, chop Batman's head off with his blade. Because that's what I imagined when I was a kid.
Yeah, but which version of him would it be? Would it be, like, the 16th? That was the problem with Bionicles, is you got, like, a new set of 8 Bionicles out every other week.
No, it's gotta be original Toa-Tahu, because he would kill people with no regrets. Like, he was the psycho.
Okay.
Okay,
Bill. Talk about the deep, complex story and character drama of the Bionicle universe.
Toa-Tahu is his name, remember it?
What was the name of the ice guy?
Fuck, I don't remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill just screamed like a raging fangirl because there's a Bionicle in the movie.
No, I did really like that.
My favorite thing I've ever said to Ian, or the favorite interaction Ian and I have ever had, is when we announced this 2 weeks ago when we announced we were going to review the Lego Movie. I said, maybe this means I'll get a Bionicle movie one day. And Ian goes, Bill, they made 2 already. And I was like, yeah, but I want a good one. And just the way in which I said it, I love that. That's my favorite interaction we've ever had.
It's just, before the show, somebody told me that at some point during the show, Bill is going to screech like a fangirl seeing the Beatles in the first time. I would not have expected it to be Bionicle. I'm hung up on this. He was like,
you think it would have been over the fact that there was a little Lego Godzilla in the crowd.
That was cool. Yeah, he's in the Master Builders, and you can see him in the background. He's also around when they're going through the whatever the cloud world was. No, one of my favorite things about it, and it's really funny. So I've got the Lego title card up here, and yay, Lego Ian, Lego Bill, Lego Cap. That's cool. That was a lot of fun to make, and the red Geeky Gentleman chairs too. That was fun. So I got that out, and to make that, I had to get out my old Legos, pour them out on the floor like I used to when I was a kid, and, being a grown-ass man, don't do that just randomly because your back and legs will hurt for, 3 days. And I had to go through hunting for all the pieces, and of course while I was doing that, you know what I found?
What'd you find?
A bunch of random shit that has nothing to do with Lego. Like, I found, a battery, and...
An old Dorito from 1987?
Yeah, I found, a battery and, slightly disgusting, but, a really old pretzel stick. Just a lot of random things that shouldn't be there.
Ask, did you even, consider maybe I should try it?
No. Nope.
Because that would
Nope, it did not. I thought, I bet someone's going to ask me if I should eat this, and if I thought about eating this. I'm like, no, it did not cross my mind that I would actually eat it.
But you thought about that, so in a way it did cross your mind.
Yes, in the same way that, don't think about pink elephants crosses your mind. No, so as soon as I saw it, I put it to the side, and I started, found a battery and, a coin and some stuff. Found, 2 pennies.
Did you find the Craggle?
2 pennies richer. No, I did not find any Craggle. So that was a lot of fun, though. Just going, it's made me so nostalgic right now. It was just, I was going through my old Legos and finding, one thing that I did for, talking about go build off of the instructions. I was never great building off the instructions, but I made stuff off the instructions that would not stand very well and had no color coordination whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, I found, some old, helmets that you'd put on the guys that had, some flame strips, and, I had 2 or 3 of those, and those were, my superhero guys, and they were called the Fires, and I remember I wrote comic books about them, and I still have those, and I, drew them myself, and they're terrible.
We need to, do, dramatic readings of them on Geeky Gentleman.
Only if we get to do dramatic readings of terrible things you wrote when you were a kid.
Oh, I have a whole hard drive, dude. I'll bust it out now.
Okay. Well, we'll do something of that in the future.
I wrote this story once called, this is going to sound so weird, called The Day I Died. And it is the craziest bullshit ever put on paper. I gotta pull it out. It's just insane. Anyways, that was just the one thing I really enjoyed, was just seeing all the different aspects of Legos coming together in these really creative ways. Like the giant hanging letters in the Old West.
Oh my god, that was the first part that, like, I love the opening sequence with the city, but the first time you get that big landscape of the Old West, I was like, wow. Like, I actually said out loud in the theater, wow, and my girlfriend looked at me and stuff.
And somebody was like, shut up!
That one was jaw-dropping to me. It's just like, it was perfect. They remade the rock formations in Arizona perfectly out of Lego. It was epic. Oh, man.
Speaking about the titles, I really appreciated all the little hints that everything you saw was going to be between them.
Dude, I'm sorry. It's all cutting out. Can you repeat that again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Cap just turns into a robot randomly.
Especially the titles in Lego form. I think it's just a aesthetic thing. And then somebody says, and what were those titles about? It was like, oh man, they were really there. And I just think all of those hints really going on were really cleverly articulated.
I'm sorry, man. I can't understand any of that. Bill, did you catch any of it?
It's cutting out really bad. It's weird because I don't think it's the internet connection, because that looks good on this end. I don't know. Yeah, Cap. I'm sorry. I can't. Okay.
Oh, Cap dropped. He'll probably... Cap, try and talk now.
Here?
Yeah.
Here, keep talking, because I want to see if it dips again.
Is it still like it was?
It's a little bit better, but not much.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Everything's on my end. You sound fine.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know, man. Everything... I got full internet here. Sorry, guys, for, Cap's... That, dropping out. We don't know what's going on about that. We'll just try to power through and hope it gets better as it goes.
Yeah.
No, but going back to the nostalgia thing, a couple years back, I was really into the Lego castle scene. I had 3 or 4 different Lego castles, and they all got broken over time. And so, a couple years back, my mom accidentally broke one, my favorite one. It was the King Leo castle set, I think it was called. Mm-hmm. And it's just been sitting in a box, broken pieces, for the last 2 years. And this morning, she started putting it together with my nephew, and I started helping. And I know I'm going to regret it tomorrow, but I don't care, because it's just, I'm looking at it right now, and it's just, I'm so happy. And the movie made me want to do that, which is, I think, the best thing you could say for it. I mean, I'm not sure if it's really, really good marketing or just really heartfelt joy that I'm feeling. Maybe it's a mix of both. But
yeah, that's the
either
interesting
way,
thing, because I felt the same way. Do you think that's our nostalgia, or do you think kids will feel the same way?
I think it's a bit of both, and I think it's just a brilliant marketing strategy either way. You know, let's just make kids want to play with Legos, make old people want to help them.
I'm going to reveal a secret. Lego is going to make some money off this movie.
Probably. How about you, Cap? You bust out any Lego sets when you got home?
See, I thought it was kids. Hello?
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Oh.
Yeah. Keep trying. We'll see if this gets better. Do you have another mic around by chance? It could be that. I don't know. Oh. What happened?
I think he's trying to find another mic or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are probably watching this just for Cap. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hopefully we'll figure it out.
Bill, you break out any Legos?
I don't think I have any more. I don't think I do. I might still have a couple of my old Bionicles lying around, but I don't think so. I'd have to go look. But I didn't break them out, partially because I didn't have time today, because my day was devoted to Fallout 3 and then go on to work.
Fair enough. No, I'm so happy to have this thing back together. I mean, there's a couple pieces missing, and God knows what happened to him, and there's a couple, mismatched pieces, but, dude, this is the Lego set I grew up playing with all the damn time, and it just looks great to me.
Yeah, I mean, what I want back, if I could get any back, is I want the Star Wars Episode 2 Legos back. When Attack of the Clones came out, I really want those. Because those are the ones that I had when I really got into Lego. And then I really want the first generation Bionicles.
Yeah, I still have all those.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah. And I have the villains. The remote control ones I probably need to rebuild, but I still have, like, the snapping villains.
There were the Rakshi?
Yeah.
And the Barakas? The Rakshi were the ones that were like, whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Well, no, like, are you talking about the little ones that formed up into the ball, or are you talking about the very first, like, they only released 2 villains, and they were like $100 sets originally. And then they started, that's a really bad idea, because these are action figures, you need something to fight, so then they released, like, the guys that formed up into the balls.
The Rakshi were the ones that went into the balls, I think. And they were also the ones where the head, like, flew out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, they were like a smaller version of the big snappers, and I had both of the really big, expensive first villain sets that they had. And I'll write down the time right now, and I'll put a picture of it up on screen, or maybe a short little video clip, actually, so you can see the action on it. And I've updated it slightly. I've modified a few things. All right. Save. Oh, we got a message down here, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Cap. Cap doesn't look like he'll be able to come back.
Darn.
Disappointed. Oh, well. Dang it.
Yeah, this sucks.
Oh, well. 'Twas not meant to be.
Apparently not.
I shall cry. Oh, well. Bill, let's you and I continue on.
Let's push forward. But to get off Bionicles and to get back to the movie, what'd you think of the girl, Wild Style, or Lucy, as we find out later?
I liked her. I mean, when she first said that she has a boyfriend, I'm like, okay, that's going to be a little stupid and cliche, and I know I'm not going to like that character, because it's going to be pointless. And then Batman shows up, and I'm like, yes! And, like, Batman's, like, such a sweetheart, too.
Yeah.
In some sense, it's such an ass, and others, let's hold hands, babe.
Yeah, he's such, I mean, here's the thing, he's such, like, a dark romantic in this universe, which is weird. I didn't know, see, here's the thing, initially I was like, oh, Batman would never have a girlfriend, and then I was like, wait a minute, alright, let's not split hairs about Batman in the Lego movie.
And I really like the reference that we got for Dark Knight with this.
Oh, yeah, at the end. Because obviously she's the love interest, if you couldn't guess by the marketing.
No, but, like, her character I really liked. She was really cool. That first scene where you get to see her be a master builder was epic.
Where she builds the motorcycle? Oh.
That
let's
was
build
so
a motorcycle cool. Out of the alleyway, and he's like, what?
Yeah, that was really cool.
I also like we find out about her towards the end, where we find out why she was scouring around that construction yard. Because I never really thought about it. I was like, oh, she's just there, just doing mysterious things.
Well, no, I figured she had something to do with, like, the piece that he found.
I mean, I assumed that, but I didn't know, like, that she was doing it because she wanted to be the one, like, kind of selfishly.
Yeah, I thought she was a good character. Oh, Cap might be joining us. Cap, hello?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, that is
better.
So much better.
Greetings.
Yay, Cap is still here. And, like, I just said earlier that he probably wouldn't be, so likely people clicked off the video because Cap's our star power. Oh, well.
Surely.
For those that stayed, thank you.
True fans. It's like 3 people. One of them is my mom. Hi, Mom.
She's like, you should watch your language, Bill.
Oh, no, my mom would be like, yeah, that's par for the course. Slightly better this time around.
Cap, what do you think? We were just talking about the love interest, and then before we get back into that, Cap, what do you think of the Dark Knight reference at the end?
There was a Dark Knight reference at the end.
Yeah.
He says that he's the hero you deserve.
I wasn't convinced it was.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I thought it was. I mean, Batman saying "hero you deserve" just really seemed Dark Knight.
I get that, and it might have sort of been, but I kind of expected them to go all the way. And when they didn't, I was like, I'm not positive that's what that is.
I thought it was. I thought
so
it was.
maybe.
We were just talking about the love interest. What did you think of Lucy or Wildstorm or whatever her name was?
Wild Style.
Wild Style.
And,
my bad. I'm so sorry.
It's spelled with 2 Y's.
Oh, really?
That's spelled. It's wild with a Y. Yeah, it's great. I thought she was fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked her character. I thought it was an interesting thing to do with like a female protagonist, that she was, that she wanted to be the one and wasn't, and was the one that was much more qualified to be the one. Yeah. The one. Which is a really good Jet Li movie.
You are the special limit.
Not a bad Morgan Freeman, Bill, but you do a better Skeletor.
Freeman, and I played God.
No, I was actually about that the whole movie. I was like, yes, of course he's playing this character because he's been God.
I made it up. Morgan Freeman was having so much fun as that character. He was in that booth just having the time of his life with all the really interesting inflections he had to do. Because there was a trailer before the movie started playing for like this movie about lemurs. You guys get that trailer?
Yeah, which just hold on. I'm sorry, totally off track. But all right, so Morgan Freeman's narration in that trailer is, a group of mammals in the age of dinosaurs survived a trip across the ocean on a small little floating thing. And it's like showing the trip across the ocean, and then there's suddenly a blue whale. I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense.
I call bullshit. I was like, bullshit! There were no mammals in the time of the dinosaurs, and certainly no blue whales.
Right.
I thought that was fun. But my whole thing was, that's like what people expect from him, that voice, is where he's like, yes, these are lemurs, and they're going across the water to that island where there are no dinosaurs. And this he got to be silly, and Morgan Freeman doesn't get to be silly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in comedies, he's always the very straight-laced character. Like, you go back to something like The Bucket List, and there were a couple moments where he gets to be a little not his usual monotone self, but he's still like the straight-laced character compared to Jack Nicholson. But I thought that was really fun. I thought that was a nice touch where we got to see him be like, I made up the legend. I loved him in this movie.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny. He's like, all of this is true because it rhymes. I'm like, I'm going to like that.
Because it rhymes.
I also liked how they played up the blind thing, especially later on, where they're like, what was his name? He had like this really complicated name, but whatever. His character, he's like, he's gonna stand watch, and he's staring at a wall.
Oh my god. That was so random. That was really good. No, I mean, let's talk more about Batman, because Cap wasn't here when we briefly brought up Batman, but I wanted to devote an entire section to Batman.
Of course you do.
So like, Haley and I are driving home from this, and she's like, "Man, Batman was a jerk." I'm like, "No, he wasn't. He came back with the hyperdrive, and he like let her go and stuff." I really thought Batman was excellently portrayed in this, because I really did think he was going to be a jerk, but this was like I'm trying to think. This was kind of like a more friendly Frank Miller style Batman, where it's just totally over the top, or kind of like kind of like the one in Brave and the Bold, just a little bit, but a little more full of himself.
Very exaggerated version of Batman, for sure. I only work in black
and very dark gray.
Oh, that was my favorite part of the whole fucking movie. That and when Emmett. I mean, the double-decker couch, that is a running gag, was amazing. Especially when, was it President in Business who, like, overanalyzed it and goes, this is the stupidest idea I've ever seen. Where he's like...
What if you're sitting on the bottom? Do you have to, like, look through people's legs? Which in Legos you totally wouldn't, but in real life. But Cap, what were your thoughts on the portrayal of Batman?
Well, I think it's important to look at that perspective and look at it's not really a portrayal of Batman so much as this kid and his creating his own Batman character. Although I do think with the Green Lantern thing, there was maybe a little bit of poking fun at how people feel about that character and how he was put on screen.
Oh, he was amazing.
Which drives me crazy, just like rant mode right now.
Oh, here
Why
we go.
are there
Hang
no...
on, back up, everybody. We got a Green Lantern fanboy over here. Everybody back up. Okay, Ian, go.
All right, hold on. Why are there no Green Lantern Lego sets? Because I challenge you to think of a better toy character relationship. What does Green Lantern do? He makes stuff. What do you do with Legos? You make stuff. You can make any kind of Lego set you want. You can have Green Lantern make a castle, a robot, a friggin' monster.
Another Green Lantern.
You can have, like, hand weapons, then you bring in Sinestro and the Red Lantern Corps and all the other Lantern Corps, and you got different, like, colors and contrasts and stuff. You can do so much with Green Lantern Lego. Please.
Yeah, and I would make the case that given that this movie was all about imagination and using your own brain, that if another Green Lantern movie is ever made, you ought to take a page thematically from this film.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Idris Elba, Jon Stewart, 2016.
Yeah, I could do that.
But I want to get back to Batman because you asked about that. I really appreciated that since it was this kid making up stuff, that it wasn't like the Lego Batman we've seen lately in the Lego Batman stuff. He's silly and fun in his own way, but he's still very Batman. And this guy wasn't Batman at all, you know? Like he was, he had his dark, creepy voice and stuff, and he had a lot of gadgets and things, and he said bat everything, but it was sort of like a kid playing with toys who's not a Batman fan, trying to remember everything he knows about Batman.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I thought it was really interesting because I'm like this. I kind of listened to the lyrics of his song, and wonder where that came from the perspective of this kid making up stuff. Interesting that Batman mentions in his song that he has no parents, but he also says something about doing stuff in a basement as opposed to a Batcave. It's as if this kid doesn't know very much about Batman.
Yeah. And
fair enough.
I mean, he's naming everything he knows. Yeah, I'm an orphan and I'm really dark.
Just all the things that he happens to know about. He's not a Batman fan, and so what's really fun about it is he's doing what you do when you're a kid. You blend everything together. You know, you have all these Lego kits, and so you just take a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and you put them all in one universe. And I also like how it's not very logical, and yet there's a certain logic to it, right? There's a kid logic to it. It's like, well,
right.
we've got to have all these different realms that cross over into each other. It's like he's accounting for the fact that they come from different places.
He's explaining it, yeah, which I thought was very clever.
He's got an explanation for it, but at the end of the day, how much does he really know about any of these things? Now, here's the thing that's really cool about it. There's only one licensed property that he knows very well, and that's Star Wars. Because when the Millennium Falcon comes in, and he's got the like I said, once you know what it all is, you have to look at it from this perspective. He's this kid, right? And he's suddenly got Han Solo and Lando Calrissian and everything talking and saying a lot. And he mentions the hyperdrive. He knows this movie like the back of his hand. And It's the only direct reference to a scene at all in the movie when they have the monster come out of the asteroid.
Right.
And I was while I was going through the movie, sort of surprised at the lack of references. Because, you could say references in that you have these licensed characters, but they're not true. It's not truly referential humor. It's just, once you know what it is, because it's just this kid, he's got stuff around. Although, you do kind of have that thing with the basketball players. When they... Yeah,
I was about to say...
There is that. I kind of wonder if that kid's not too young to have known, are y'all ready for this? There's that. And when I see it on a second viewing, I'm going to pay special attention to see if I buy that all of this could really come from his imagination. Because I'll tell you, there are some places where he's using some vernacular that I am not sure I buy that he would have. I mean,
fair enough, but at a certain point, you gotta, like, draw a line between narrative and just entertaining to the audience, don't you?
Well, kind of, but it's so smart that
definitely.
I guess my point is I want it to get away with it. You know,
fair enough.
I want it to get away. Now, I want to ask you guys a question, because when you get to the end of the movie, there is a point at which I'm not exactly sure what's going on and from whose mind we're seeing stuff. When Emmett is in the real world and he's able to will himself off a counter, you have to start asking yourself how much of this was in the kid's mind and how much of a world is kind of somehow real somehow.
I think that's kind of like...
I think it's open interpretation, and so I don't have a problem with it, but I can't decide what my interpretation is yet.
Okay, let me just say this much. I think it's kind of like a Toy Story thing, where Woody knows he's not actually a cowboy or anything like that, and Emmett obviously isn't at that level of self-awareness yet, but he still sees himself as the hero, as the most important toy, and that's because that's the value that Andy has assigned to him. So I'd say it's kind of something like that, where he's kind of got that Woody or Buzz Lightyear thing, where he still, like, sees himself as the important thing. The Legos are, at least on some level, conscious. But they have that whole, creator thing with the noodly hand going on. So I don't know.
See, the problem with that logic, though, is that in Toy Story, it's very clear that the toys are aware and get up and move around and do stuff. Right. In this, you only have one character that seems to be self-aware at all, and you could make the case that even his thinking, like his internal monologue that we get when he comes out, could maybe still be coming from the kid, although it's reaching, because you do see him throw himself off a counter. So like when he goes back in, and it's and basically the big denouement is playing out the kid and the father coming to an understanding. It seems like that still really is the kid making up everything, and that the characters that we're seeing are actually just all his creation. So what I wonder is if somehow his imagination doesn't, at the point that the character comes out of the Lego world, imbue him with like a spark of life.
Fair enough, and I mean some of the stuff going on after we enter the real world and then go back to the Lego world is just a little like, how would he be doing this if his dad's right there, like, still playing in President Business's floating Lego brick of death. Because, he's still doing the thing, and you see Will Ferrell look into President Business's office or whatever it is with the Craggle, and Emmett's foot stuck during that scene, and his foot is actually super glued down. So it's a little wonky there, and I was kind of like, okay, what is really going on? Yeah. But I kind of just looked past it because I was so enthralled and so in love with what was happening.
You gotta wonder if at a certain point it's a mix between everything. The kid is doing everything, and at the same time, it's that idea in some things like this where it's somebody reaching into another plane of reality. Trying to think of an example, I can't. But I wonder if it's like a mix of that, because you're right. It's, for the most part, the movie very cleverly underlays that this kid is doing everything, and that's why it comes off this way. But it could be this weird thing, and I don't know, I'm just going to throw this out there. It could be this weird thing where something will start off where art imitates life, and then life starts imitating art. Like, the kid influences the Legos for all this time and creates this situation. And maybe it gets to the point where he has done it so much, and they've imitated his life so much that they are able to, that life around them starts to imitate them, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
It does a little bit. I see where you're coming from.
But I'll say this: I was reminded of the SpongeBob movie in the scene where Emmett is the actual Lego dude, and he goes up on the counter. Because there's that scene in the SpongeBob movie where SpongeBob and Patrick go up on land, and they're on that counter and they dry out. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I definitely need to see this movie again because, again, I had the headache and everything, and I was just like, oh, stop throwing things at me, movie. Stop chucking Legos at me and stop putting bright colors on screen because my head's going to explode. I don't know. Sorry. I really dug it in terms of that scene.
Yeah, Ian, I got to say this real quick. I want to just straight up look past it. I think the movie's too good for that. I think it wants me to try to decide what I think it's doing there. You know what I mean? And I think it's intentionally ambiguous. One of the big things I'm wondering is if, and I hope this is the case because it's really interesting. And if I'm right and they are being ambiguous, then there's enough to support this that it can just be this way. For me, I think that when he goes back through the portal, I wonder if. Again, if he hadn't, when he's in the real world, like been imbued with some kind of a consciousness because of the kid's imagination, he goes back through the portal, and I really think perhaps that we're seeing his face transform back into CGI face. That we're not actually seeing the transition between he was this real-world regular Lego that kind of got imbued with life, and then he's transforming back into the version in the kid's head. Mm-hmm. And then we're seeing that happen.
If I may point to another instance where that kind of supports that, when he comes back into Lego World, he crushes through a construction site and seemingly has enhanced strength.
Well, like, that, not just that, though, but, like, he learns suddenly, he knows how to do everything, he knows how to be a master builder, so it's definitely, if nothing else, you can make the argument that seeing how everything works from that distance, he now understands how to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Yeah, and you know what, that's really interesting, because I said the same thing to Sarah last night when we were talking about this, because we did our review, and then we talked about it afterwards, because, you know, we couldn't spoil stuff on our review, and I suggested the same thing. And Sarah kind of thought that he might have reached a character place just before he got thrown out that would have led to the same thing, that would have led to him being a master builder. And again, I need to see it again to see if I buy that.
Yeah.
Because I just don't remember exactly what was going on right before that. But smartly, I think the movie kind of gives you sort of a double epiphany where he really has kind of reached an opportunity for change inside the Lego world. And then he experiences another one when he comes back out. So, I don't know, I think there's somewhat of a question of identity and personhood there, of what exactly he is in those two places.
Yeah, my question is, where does he go after this? Because he's now realized that his world isn't, or at least to a certain extent, that his world isn't real. So, I don't know, that's really interesting.
The next Lego Movie 2 will just be this, like, artsy...
He'll be drunk.
Really existential thing.
It's just gonna all be in black and white.
It'll be like the wall, but with Lego, the brick, if you will. Just like Roger Waters.
Like, no. It's gonna be in a really artsy, like, black and white Lego film that takes place in Lego Paris. But not like the nice scenic parts of Lego Paris, like the seedy back alleys and stuff of Lego Paris.
Right, like Moulin Rouge Paris. I gotta bring this up before I forget. Okay, so I'm driving Nicola home and we're talking about the movie. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I have to now because it's kind of fitting. And we're talking about the big reveal about, you know, with Will Ferrell being the dad and being kind of the real-life president business, and he comes down. And there's that scene where he's coming down and he steps through the light, and it's the big reveal. And Nicholas says, and we kind of look at each other, we're both having the same thought, I want to see the rated R version where he's like this, like, beatnik, like, really mean, like abusive father.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
It was we were both like, that's horrible, but it's the way in which the kid is portraying his father, it kind of would work. And if you're doing it like for adults, I don't know. Forest Fire, if by some miracle you listen, I want to see that version of the Lego movie.
That's awful.
It was horrible, but I don't know. I had to bring it up because it was fitting with we're talking about dark Lego movie too.
You know, Bill, you have this gift for just sucking the innocence out of everything. Like,
I do.
No,
well done.
It's because Milan has tainted his soul. Like if Milan was here, he'd be like, "Oh, I thought that was what was going on."
No, that and I have this friend named Andres, who I do the Sons of Sarazawa podcast with. Very innocent, very child at heart kind of dude. He's from sunny California. Everything is great. He watches a lot of cartoons and stuff. Everything is awesome for him. And I just love to, like, destroy everything he holds dear because it's fun. and because...
You're a fucking sociopath.
No, I'm not a sociopath. But I'll point to an example. One time, and I think Andres listens, so he'll be laughing his ass off. One time Andres was... Because Andres is obsessed with giant robot anime and giant robot cartoon shows. So obviously he's a big Transformers fan and Ultraman fan and all that. So, we're talking with our other friend Dylan, and Dylan goes, Andres, why don't you tell Bill your giant robot cartoon recommendation? Because Andres always like, oh, Bill, you should watch this. And jokingly he'll be like, oh, fuck that shit. I don't want any part of it. It's all crap. Jokingly. Just because, I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. And so Andres now thinks I'm not kidding, and he'll try to work to get me interested. So here's what he does. He brings up this show. I don't know if either of you guys have heard of it. There was this show in the early 2000s called Megas XLR.
I love that show.
Where it was this giant robot picked up by this guy who was a lazy slob, and
he turns it into like he makes a car its head and then uses video games to play.
Right, and he fights monsters and stuff. I didn't watch it as a kid, but I heard it was around when I was of that proper age group. I just didn't watch it. And Andres is trying to get me into it, and he goes, Bill, I think you would really love it because there's a deep connection with cars in it. And I was like, oh no. And the reason why he brings that up is because my dad's a mechanic, and he thinks that, like, I'm going to have this, like, close relationship with it now, where it's, like, this big thing for me. It's like, this movie speaks to my inner soul. Oh, it was really funny. Now I don't know why I told that story.
Neither do I.
I apologize, but I had to tell it because I've never told it on recording.
Hey, Ian, you asked me something earlier when I was crippled. With my talkingness wasn't working, and you guys were talking about your nostalgia for Legos, and you brought up something I thought was really interesting, the question of would anybody who saw this that didn't have that nostalgia for Legos feel the same way? And the thing is, I didn't really play with Legos that much when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, I really did. Yeah, I wasn't into constructing things. It wasn't like I'm not mechanical in nature. I wasn't good at it, and so I didn't play with a lot of blocks. And so, like, my interest in the whole Lego phenomenon has had a lot more to do with its relationship to the whole pop culture scene and video games and stuff. And so, like that's more my relationship with it. And so, like, I had Legos, and I played with them some, but I don't have a deep nostalgia for it. And I watched, after seeing that movie, I kind of felt like that sentiment was just infectious if you enjoyed the film, because I did kind of have this compulsion when I was done with it, thinking I'd like to build something. But I'm not really into building, so I think perhaps it works on that level even for people who aren't necessarily really nostalgic for that.
That's interesting.
That's really interesting.
Now, I really identified with both the kid and the dad on certain levels as both a collector and someone who still has a lot of his toys.
Yeah.
And so, like,
I think that's something we have to get into.
I didn't connect real hard with the actual Lego property, but I do always latch on real hard to the theme of being your own person, and it's okay to step outside the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that really hit me was, and I thought this was so surprising, because this is a super commercial movie, and like Bill said, they're going to make plenty of money with it. And yet, it is Lego telling you, hey guys, just remember that even though our sets have instructions, you can always mix and match. You can do anything you want to with them.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's what happens with Legos.
I love that.
And I'm going to use this.
Hit me in a place.
Yeah, I want to use this, if you don't mind, to transition to something else through a story here. That's something that always happens with Legos. You get the really cool sets. I mean, I'm the guy that bought, my parents couldn't get me enough Legos to the point where I would save up money to get $100 sets. I don't know if either of you have heard of, or, like, they did the Martian set, which is, I grew up in what a lot of people call the dark times of Legos, where they just kept making pieces, and a lot of people hate that, but whatever, it worked for me.
What do you mean?
I had the Martian set, like, they just would make new pieces any time they built a set. That got really bad during the Harry Potter era. They'd make a new piece just for that set. It didn't bug me, but anyway. I got the Martian set.
Can I stop you for a second? Because this is something I've always wondered about, and if I don't ask it now, it's never going to get asked. Because people complain about this. My wife complains about this. When people who are into Legos get annoyed that they make a new piece, what does that mean? Are they talking about a new piece that can then be transitioned to sets, or are they talking about, like, the custom pieces that go in that set?
Well, they're talking about, like, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Let me look at Alright, let's take the Harry Potter Lego set, for example, because that was the big one that did it just like crazy. Harry Potter released, like, the three-headed dogs and, columns. There were never, like, Lego columns before, to my knowledge. And they just would make all these new sets. And what was cool about Lego is if you had enough pieces, you could get the instruction manuals and then make anything.
Oh.
That's what a lot of people really liked about them. That they were, like, the first, I guess you could say, recyclable toy. So when people... So, like, what was really annoying about that was, okay, now I can't make this on my own with my own Lego collection, even no matter how huge it is, because I need that piece. And I mean, certainly, you couldn't get the colors matched correctly back in the day, but still. So that's something that's what I think of it. But, sorry, I'm trying to move to a place here, and I keep getting distracted. So I'd buy, like, the Lego Martian set and stuff, and it was a $100 set with, like, an air pump piece that you could shoot these guys through plastic tubes, and it was awesome. And I saved up, and I got it myself, and the teller hated me because I paid all in change.
I would hate you too, dude. As a person in the customer service industry, I'd kick your ass out.
I was, like, 10.
Get out, kid! I don't take this change.
Anyway, but inevitably it would break, and I'd rebuild it a couple times, but eventually I'd need the piece, and I'd take it off of there, and I'd keep doing that until it was completely useless, and then it just went into the pile. And so, what was really interesting about it is I got to a certain age where I wasn't playing with them anymore, and I didn't need to break them anymore, and I knew how to, like, repair them once they were broken, so I didn't have sets that were deteriorating anymore. So I'd keep them up on a shelf, and for about 3 to 4 years, they were just on the shelf in my room, and they looked really cool, and I loved them. Eventually, I had to move them downstairs because I ran out of shelf space because my room's really small. I had to move them downstairs, and then I got a nephew, and I got a cousin, and they wanted to play with them. And this is where I wanted to go with this, and Cap, as a collector, I'm sure you'll get it. Little kids always want to play with them because to them they're just toys. And it's a really interesting thing that the movie totally touches on with Will Ferrell's character being, obsessed with, keeping everything perfectly organized and stuff. And I wasn't that bad, but...
Did you use the Craggle?
No, I never crazy glued Legos, but I painted them constantly. There are a lot of Lego pieces where I'm like, oh, you can tell that's painted. But, like, I remember my nephew wanting to play, or my cousin wanting to play with my Harry Potter Legos, and I brought up the sets upstairs, and before I could even get the third set up, 2 of them were broken, to the point where couldn't do it, couldn't repair it. Would have to break everything down to individual pieces and start over. And I mean, there's something heartbreaking about that, and there's this weird thing like that I've been dealing with, where do you keep them from playing with the toys until they reach a certain age and learn respect for it, or do you just let them play with them and feel bad or do you not let them play with them and feel bad, or do you let them play with them and feel bad for the past you who is totally not cool with that?
Yeah. Like the indignant kid version of you where it's like, don't let them play with your stuff. I had this too, but I had this with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I was of that generation where we were doing the Yu-Gi-Oh game, and I had a dual disc and everything. I had the thing that like popped out, and you would put your cards on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my very selective deck because I was in that generation where you had to carefully plan what was in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Very well thought out. And I had it in the dual disc, and I went to a friend's house, and I put it on a shelf, and then we went outside, and we came back in, and all of my cards were on the floor. And I was like, no. I freaked, and what I found out was that his little cousins had done it, and I freaked. I was like chasing them around his house, just like, you ruined my Yu-Gi-Oh deck!
Yeah, but Bill, you were still of the age when you were playing with it. For me, it's just
I know what you mean, but I was still older than them, so it was still like, you still want to let them go to town, but I get what you mean though.
But I think what makes it so hard with Legos, and I want to get your perspective on this too. What makes it so hard with Legos is it literally gets destroyed. Like an action figure will break, but you can super glue it back together or whatever. But with Legos, you literally see it break when the little kids get a hold of it, and I think that's what makes it so hard. And I want to talk about what the movie does commenting on that. But Cap, you want to go ahead and throw in on this?
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's interesting to note that the kid wasn't really ruining anything. He was just mixing and matching, right? And so
yeah.
I think it was just the dad. I coming to a place where he remembers why he enjoyed them so much in the first place. Like I think if you were to see the end of the whole thing, it probably, I don't know this, but my guess would be that it probably went to a place where it just became a thing the family did together.
Yeah.
As opposed to he just lets the kids go down there and screw with his stuff. I would imagine that he's not the kind of character that is like completely finished by the end of the day. I imagine that he's still super organized, and when the kids are done playing with it, he probably puts it back just the way it was. But I don't know that it's really commenting at all on whether or not parents be relaxed enough that they say, okay, I'm an adult now, toys are toys get broken. Maybe it's more of a matter of responsibility. You know what I mean? Like you let your kids play with the stuff because you teach them how to play with it right. I mean, there's a certain risk, especially in letting too young of a kid. I almost resisted the idea of the little girl getting to play with Legos because I was like, well, we hear her voice at the end. She can't be any older than 3.5.
Yeah.
So I did kind of wonder about that. But as I said, and again, maybe I'm reading far too this narratively. I have a tendency to overanalyze stuff like this, but I think it's really interesting at the same time. It's not like suddenly the little girl takes over and all the characters are different. They're the same people, right? So maybe the girl playing together at that point, or like I said, maybe it's a family thing. Maybe they all get together and play together. So that's take on what the thing is actually saying. As far as me, like as a parent with a little kid, my son's probably the age the little girl was, and I let him play with some of my old stuff, but I've taught him how to take care of things. I've taught him how to have respect for stuff, and so he doesn't ruin anything. He's very careful with daddy's stuff. And has he occasionally accidentally broke something? Yeah, sure. But I'll tell you, all the stuff and when I say all, I mean all of 3, 4, 5 things. All of it's mostly been action figures. All of my old stuff that Jason has broke, I could have very easily broke myself because it's all the not very made stuff that hasn't been played with in years and years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting.
That's totally fair. I didn't think about that. Yeah, the kid's not destroying it; he's building it on himself. But I think it's just a really interesting thing about Legos is that it's so easy to break them, and like I've always been so protective of them. I only got like one set, not counting this castle that was just rebuilt today. I've only got one set left, and I just won't let them touch it because I'm like, no, they'll just break it. And it's so weird because when I was a kid, I did it to my brother's Legos, and my mom was totally cool with it. And then when he had kids, I guess it's kind of like karma in that way. When he had kids and they come over and want to play with my Legos, I get really protective of them. And it's the thing, yes, you're right, Cap. You do have to teach the kids respect, and I think that's the thing. Legos need more respect than anything else because of how fragile they are. You have to teach
how
the
fragile
kids
the
respect.
thing is. It's really interesting because in anticipation for the movie, Jason and I actually built a Lego set before we went and saw the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know if you guys saw my review, but I was playing with the Lego DeLorean while we were reviewing it.
Cool.
We built that yesterday, and Jason got that for Christmas, and he's been waiting patiently for me to have time to sit down and build it with him. And I thought yesterday would be a really appropriate time, so we sat down and we put it together. And it's so surreal because I had that exact discussion with him before we went and saw the movie that was about that. I built it for him, and of course he just wanted to roll around with it and play with it. But that said, even over a lot of other ones that I've seen, and like I said, I'm not a big Lego guy, but even some of the others that I have, like the old Lego Batcave and stuff like that. This thing's pretty fragile. Like you touch it just the right way, and the doors pop off. The Mr. Fusion pops off the back. Stuff pops off of it. And it occurred to me that to a certain degree, Legos are toys, and to a certain degree, they're mine. And you can play with them if you're A, dexterous enough to put the things back together, and B, if you just are able to go back to the instruction in case you mess it up. For me, it was a practical thing. I couldn't let my 3.5-year-old pull a thing around without me playing with him, because in 5 minutes he's going to come to Dad with it in 16 pieces, and I put it back together. So that's just a practical thing. That's not me taking it too seriously like Will Ferrell's character. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the difference.
That he might go, hey, this looks good.
Yeah, just for me, the one thing I want to finish my story. See, the thing is, my mom didn't get it, and she just says, "Oh, you guys should play with it." And after today, after she spent probably 3 to 4 hours helping me and my nephew rebuild this castle that he broke a couple years back when he was 2. I think now she gets it. Now that you see all the effort that you put into it, searching through a box for one piece for hours. Once you see the effort you put into it, then you get the respect for Legos. I mean, it's such a weird thing to say, but Legos demand that you respect them.
Definitely. I mean, just with the effort involved, it takes forever. And I remember when I was in first grade, when I got really into Legos, I remember my first Lego set was the you guys remember from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where that assassin gets in that speeder, and she's flying through the city, and Anakin jumps on it and gets her off to the side, and that's when she kills herself. That was my first Lego, that particular ship. And I remember finally putting it together at home one day, and I went to this after-school program in first grade where, you would go and you'd hang out with a bunch of kids your age, and then your parents would come pick you up when they got home from work. And I wanted to bring my Legos because that's what everybody did. My parents were like, no, because it's going to fall apart and you're going to lose it, and then you're going to come home crying. So even my parents, not knowing much about Legos, they were like, no, because it's going to fall apart. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. And I brought it in, and it fell apart immediately.
Well, when it comes to a model like that, especially the licensed stuff, I mean, you lose one piece and the whole thing could be wrecked. It's not going to look right. Something I found that kind of drove me crazy with the DeLorean, unless I just did it wrong, I think I did. There were a couple pieces that I couldn't find forever because they colored them wrong.
Really?
Yeah, the instructions are always just slightly off.
And that drove me crazy. Well, the thing is, that wasn't you're right. There were a couple places where the instructions missed a step, where it was there was this piece that they have listed there, but they didn't tell me to put it there. So I was like, wait a minute, where did that come from? But this was a case where the instructions were right, and they thought they put enough of one piece with the particular color in the box, but they accidentally colored one wrong. So I ended up with two pieces on the back that were supposed to be the same color, but I didn't have that color. So one's gray and one's black, but they're both supposed to be gray. And I didn't know that could happen. And so it took me for half an hour looking for this piece. It isn't there. It did not exist in my box.
Right? Isn't that annoying? That's why they always try to give you a couple extra pieces, which is something that they've started to do within the last couple of years, and it is really quite appreciative, even though I don't collect them anymore. There were days when I begged for extra pieces. I got a Lego Batman, Mr. Freeze, and Aquaman set. Someone might have seen it in the stores recently for Christmas, and I was really happy with that. And it came with it came with a handful of pieces.
Can I bring something up quick about the movie that I was just reminded of?
Yeah, sure, go
My
ahead.
other favorite character, who I just adore because of how kind of semi-tragic he was Benny.
Oh, the space guy?
Yeah, the spaceship.
Oh, he had a name? Oh, I didn't pick up on that. Okay.
Yeah, the 1980s astronaut, where he keeps trying, yeah, let's build a spaceship. Yeah, and then he never, like, they're always like, Benny, we need a specific spaceship, and then he knocks it down. He's like, oh.
Okay, and he just kicks it, and it all falls apart.
And then finally, he's like, spaceship? And they're like, yes, Benny, spaceship. He's like, yes, yeah! And then he just keeps saying spaceship over and over again.
Spaceship.
And it was really fun, too, because then we got to see the kid doing the same thing. He was like, spaceship.
Yep.
Right, yeah. All right, I think we're pretty close to wrapping up here. Is there anything else anyone wanted to bring up?
I just wanted to say that this is probably the best family film I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
And I'm saying that over other things that I adored, you know? I mean, like, I think I had a better experience with this than I did Monsters University, and I love that movie. You know, like this thing really hit me in a place, and I was really surprised by that. Yeah, I don't know. I had this really emotional experience with the frickin' Lego Movie. I didn't expect that. Like,
that's exactly
I mean, I really thought
I
thought it'd be just kind of like a silly little thing that I'd enjoy because, you know, it was Legos. But no, I mean, this really is a great story.
There was a
and
point.
There's something to it, and I'm really glad that they left open room for a sequel, and I hope that we get to see it.
I was actually a little bit apprehensive about a sequel. Myself, just because I'm
direct sequel. Yeah.
I'm sort of afraid that if they did just a direct sequel, that it couldn't possibly have the heart this one does. Like I don't know. It's sort of like you're watching a movie where in the third act the curtain gets pulled back. And yeah, there's plenty of foreshadowing to that. There's a lot of talk about the man upstairs and stuff like that. But I didn't expect that we would necessarily see whoever that was, you know? And
that's something I wish they would have done in, like, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I mean, the curtain gets pulled back. And yeah, but at least with Wreck-It Ralph, you know that you're in a video arcade from the very, very beginning. Here,
no, I mean, just blending in live I wish they would have done it with Toy Story. It would have been impractical then because of how much was in the real world. But with Wreck-It Ralph, since there were only like maybe 4 very short scenes in the real world, I really wish they would have done those parts in live action. That would have been cool.
I guess the problem is it can be clunky and awkward to make a sequel to something where you didn't know exactly what you were watching the whole time, and then suddenly the curtain got pulled back. And you make a sequel to that, and it has the potential to like just on at its conception be missing some of that charm. It's kind of like you know, a lot of us loved the first Iron Man movie so much because we had never seen what I like to call the kind of new archetype created by Robert Downey, and the other ones. You know, are fun in their way. I like too, but whatever. I'm just saying that you know, moving on from there, part of the difficulty is you can never recapture the way you felt the first time because you can't experience that character for the first time. And I feel the same way about this world, where I'm like, it might be fun to have a sequel, but I don't know that it ever could live up to the original. I don't know that it's possible.
It's not going to come off as creative because, again, one of the really impressive things about this movie to me was I had no expectations going into it, and now when I see the sequel, if they do make one, which I imagine they're gonna,
it's going to happen. Yeah. And so, you're saying that like your expectations are going to be through the roof because you're going to remember this as some of the most fun you've ever had in the movie theater.
Right, exactly. And then I'm going to go into it, and Emmett is going to be sitting in a room all depressed with like a beer gut, drinking whiskey, and I'm just not going to have the same experience. No, just kidding. That would be amazing if they did that. I'd be like, yeah, I'm down.
When was the last time
it gets really dark?
When was the last time you guys saw a movie like this where it's almost unanimously heralded as quite good? You know, like it's getting reviews almost across the board. It's really tough to make a sequel to that. And yeah, Toy Story managed it, but they are, and I get, and Ian, I get why you would compare them, and I was doing the same thing last night after I saw it. You know, certainly that's the obvious comparison. But they're really different animals. There's immediately places to go with Toy Story. And you knew where you stood with it the whole time. This thing. I kind of feel like once you know what the conceit is, it's got to be harder to make that. I wouldn't be afraid too much if it would be set in the real world, right? Like,
guys.
Well, I wouldn't want it all in the real world. I'd want about the same level of real world as we got in this one.
Guys, I have the solution.
Okay, Bill.
Legos versus Mega Bloks.
Okay, no.
Do a crossover.
No,
come on, man.
We do not need to glorify Mega Bloks.
We're not going to glorify them. We're going to kick their ass.
No, we do not need to. No, it would be glorifying to acknowledge their existence.
Bill, I'll say this: after this worked, I would take the K'NEX movie.
Oh, Legos versus Mega Bloks versus K'NEX.
Bill, you're just so much of a giant monster movie fan. You just need everything.
Just everything needs to fight. That's just my problem.
Crossing over. Yeah, I could totally see now the movies, the movie set in a universe where everything's made of K'NEX. Like, I can totally see that now.
Definitely.
And then we'd get Mario Kart. Because K'NEX did Mario Kart.
Oh God. I don't know. I was down with this movie in a way that I thought I wouldn't be. So this was a pleasantly surprising movie for me. And I never have that these days. I'm gonna go see RoboCop next Thursday. I know I'm not gonna have that experience with RoboCop. So this was a great treat for me. I really enjoyed this.
I just want to throw in real quick on last thoughts on the sequel. Cap, you bring up a very good point, but I don't know if it's done by the same people. I'll trust it to at least be trying. Like,
yeah,
that's,
I'd love to give it the benefit of the doubt because these guys blew me away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it's a fluke. I think that there's something you can do here. I think there's still room and potential. I mean, Lego is the endless beast of building and stuffs. Sorry, it's getting late. I'm getting tired, and my verboseness is slowly cracking down.
This is when Ian's at his best.
Yeah, but no, I think there is potential for a sequel. The ideas are not as readily available as they are with Toy Story or something, but I would trust that there's enough potential that if you get the same writers and they get to take their time with it, I think you could get a really good script for a sequel. I just want to throw in my final thoughts on that.
I hope so.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'll be there. Opening day.
Okay, everyone. All right, it's time to wrap up, guys, because it is getting kind of like a long video here. All right, so Cap, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the score system on Geeky Gentlemen, but here's the basic premise of it. Here's the basic premise of it. You have to give a 5 rating, and you have to use a creative noun that's related to the thing we're reviewing. I'll let Bill go first to give you an example.
All right, the Lego movie. Okay. I am going to give the Lego movie 4 pieces of retro 80s technology out of 5.
Good one. All right, I will give the Lego movie 5 out of 5, completely non-objective. It's total subjective rating because I cannot look at this movie negatively.
Is everything
like
awesome?
I would not even be able to tell you if this movie is bad because like even if this movie was objectively awful, I still would have loved it because it's Lego. I give this movie 5 out of 5. Speaker systems for doomsday machines.
Oh, Lego Bruce Wayne, genius.
No, parents.
So there's my rating on it. Go see it, please. If you're listening to this, just go see it. For people out of the country, I'm sorry. This is a movie it's worth getting arrested for pirating.
America! Fuck yeah!
Okay, how about you, Cap?
Well, Ian, I'm gonna say that unabashedly that like I think critically this actually is like a really fantastic movie. I'm gonna go with 5 out of 5 plastic croissant rolls.
Oh, boom!
Awesome. All right, man. Good job, Cap. Good job. We're getting you.
Oh.
All right, everyone. Thank you thank you for listening to this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Fanatic.
And I'm Captain Logan.
And Captain Logan is Captain Logan. We just get really silent and let the new person say something. But anyway, we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
Till the end of time.
Awesome.